Hi guys, thanks for joining me again. I know that I promised to do a video on my preeclampsia, my delivery. I know if you haven't seen my other video, I talked a little bit about preeclampsia. Preeclampsia is a condition that women get when they're pregnant. It happens when you have high blood pressure, which is hypertension, and it causes kidney failure. There's seizure, the mom gets seizures, and life-threatening conditions can happen from, you know, having preeclampsia. And the only thing you can do to get rid of it is to have your baby. And this is what I got. I did make it to 39 weeks, but I actually had it the whole time. So if I, at 36 weeks, we ran some blood work. They did a 24-hour urine. And it was borderline, and my blood pressure was going up, and I had the headache, and you know, my hands were puffy and my ankles were puffy, so I did have some of the signs. Sorry, somebody doesn't want to go down for a nap, so I actually have Jaden here with me. Oh yes, preeclampsia. I did have some of the signs and symptoms at 36 weeks. I did make it to 39 weeks. When I got to 39 weeks, it was a Friday, and I thought I felt like a pop or something, or I heard a pop, and then later over the weekend I kept feeling like, you know, I went to the bathroom, and then when I stood up from the toilet I could feel like a trickle. Sorry, that's a lot of information, but I could feel a trickle, and I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe my water was leaking, and it did that till Sunday, and I was thinking, well, you know, they say if your water breaks, you have 24 hours to have your baby, or you could have an infection. So I didn't want that to happen, and I wasn't sure if it was my water or not, because if I walk around and stuff, it wasn't leaking, only when I went to go pee. So I called the doctor, and they said, you know, just come in, we'll run some quick tests. So that's what I did. I went in, they ran some quick tests, and sure enough, my water did not break. But they said that my blood pressure was so high, they couldn't let me go home. They wanted to keep me there to monitor me. So we got there, it was Sunday morning, it was 9. We were gonna go to church at 10:30, but you know, they wanted to keep me there till after I had lunch. So we stayed, we had lunch. I didn't eat very much. I didn't like the hospital food. And they came back and they said, oh, you know, your blood pressure is really high. It's still high, because they were monitoring it like every half hour. And it keeps going up and going down, up and down. And but it was getting higher every time. And that is also a sign of preeclampsia. So they looked, so they did some more tests, some more urine tests and stuff, and then they came back with the doctor, and the doctor said, okay, so we are diagnosing you with preeclampsia. You are not going home. You are going to have your baby. Oops, bless you. We weren't ready. We were just planning to go in for some quick tests and leave, but they wouldn't let us leave, so we had to stay. I was induced that Sunday at 4 o'clock. And you know, when they induce you, you can't eat anything. You're on a liquid diet from then on, and you can pretty much just drink and have popsicle and soda and things like that, but you're on a liquid diet, so you can't really eat any solids. So if I knew that, I would have ate a bigger lunch, but I didn't. They gave me Pitocin. When I went, sorry, let's back up. When I went in, I was 2 centimeters dilated and 80% effaced. That means I was 80% thinned out and 2% dilated. And then, you know, they started me on Pitocin, which will give me contractions, because I wasn't having contractions. So it gave me contractions, and, you know, we did that all night. They monitored me and the baby, and when they induce you, they have to monitor the baby's heart to make sure that, you know, he's not, you know, going in distress or whatever from all the stuff that they're doing. So they were monitoring him and me, And they kept upping the dosage and of Pitocin, and my contractions were getting stronger and stronger. And I didn't take anything for it because my birth plan was, I mean, we had it typed up and everything. Was he's talking to me. My birth plan was all natural. I wanted everything all natural. I didn't want any pain meds or epidural or C-section or anything like that. Oh, what's wrong? So I didn't want anything like that. I just wanted everything all natural, and that's not what happened. Pretty much when you're induced, everything is not natural. So I was having back labor instead of regular contractions in the front. It was in the back, and it was terrible. I didn't take any painkillers for it because, you know, I still wanted to do it the natural route. So I did, like, they put a hot pack on my back with some a rice bag. I did that all night. I sat on the ball, which they didn't really want me to sit on the ball because when I sat on the ball, they couldn't really get my baby's heartbeat because he was just so wiggly and active and moving around everywhere. So, and I did go in the hot tub because I was in so much pain. I didn't wake up my husband because I knew that, you know, this is going to be a long, long ordeal. So I let him sleep, and I was up all night. I was in pain. I was up all night. I did get a little sleep here and there. And then in the morning, the doctor came. They checked me again, stripped my membrane. And, you know, I had contractions all night. And I was still 80% effaced. And I was only 3 centimeters dilated. So, yeah, I didn't really do anything. So, you know, he said, well, the next step is for us to break your water. And I was like, no, I don't want you to break my water because, you know, we're scared. Like, everything's happening so fast. We weren't prepared for this. We didn't, you know, we went to birthing classes and we did, you know, did our research and everything, but we didn't do this research. I mean, we weren't ready for getting induced, and we wanted all natural and everything. So you know, they just told us so much stuff and everything is coming at you so fast and you just don't know how to, you know, you need time to process everything. They tell you and then they're like, okay, so what do you want to do? And you're like, well, can I think about it? Can I process this quick? Like, I don't know. I have no idea. And you don't know who to ask. It's just you guys and it's your first time, you know. And it was our first time. We've never had a baby before. We've never had any of this happen before. So, you know, and we didn't research this stuff. So, we said no to my water being broke because we were scared. And, you know, he said, we're not doing this because it's an elective, you know, delivery where you're getting induced. This is because you have a condition. And the only way the condition will, if you have your baby. So, you know, he left and we talked about it a little bit. And then, you know, he said, well, you know, they can just keep upping my Pitocin with my contractions for a little bit and see where it goes if I don't want to break my water. Because the next step was breaking my water. And I didn't want to because he said that if he breaks my water, it'll double my chances of having a C-section. And I didn't want to have a C-section. I wanted to push my baby. I wanted to have a vaginal delivery. That's what my plan was. That's what I wanted. So we talked about it. We decided, yeah, let's do it because the nurse told me that my blood pressure was going up, and if it goes too high, then they're going to give me potassium, and with potassium, that will help me so that I don't get a seizure. But if they give me those drugs, it will make me not go to, like, it won't make my delivery progress. It will stop it. So I didn't want it to stop. I mean, I wanted to have the baby. So we decided that we were going to go ahead and break my water. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning. And then, so we were like, okay, fine, break our water. So he broke my water, and oh my god, you guys, I didn't know, like people say like, oh yeah, they broke my water, like it's nothing. It was so painful, and I don't know if it was painful because he took forever trying to break my water, or if it was painful because he was down there so long. I have no idea, but it was painful. What they do is they go in like they're giving you a pelvic exam, except for like they have to like pinch a little bit of your sac, and then they have like this stick with a little hook at the end, and then they tug on it, and then it like breaks your water. Except for he couldn't, because I wasn't dilated very far. What's wrong, honey? I wasn't dilated very far. He couldn't really get a grip, or I don't know, but he was in there for a long time. I was in so much pain. I mean, like there was like tears running down my face, and I think I screamed at one point. So he broke my water, and my tummy was so beautiful. It was so big and round, and then it like deflated like a balloon. Like it deflated, and then there was like water everywhere. And then so you know, my contractions were strong, but now, I mean, after they broke my water, my contractions were like unbearable. I was in so much pain. And you know, some people did tell me that, you know, they told me that if you're getting induced, and if you have like these drugs that they give you, which is Pitocin and stuff, to give you like fake contractions or contractions, but they're not normal contractions or whatever, that they're more painful. And they were so painful, I could not bear it. Like, and it came like all of a sudden, like boom, it was bad. And I was on my knees, and I was hunched over the bed on my knees, and I don't even know if I was wearing an underwear anymore. I have no idea. I don't know what was going on around me. All I know that I was screaming, and I was in a lot of pain. And my husband was trying to be helpful, and he kept like trying to close my gown up behind me, because I think he thought I was cold or something, but I was like dripping sweat. And I yelled at him at one point. I remember I was yelling at him. I said, I said, can you stop doing that if you keep doing that? Or like, can you stop doing that? Oh my God, I'm so annoyed. I'm gonna punch you in the face, or something like that. But he did so good. My husband did so good. I was afraid that he was gonna be scared and sitting in the corner like a lot of my friends' husbands. But no, he was so supportive, and he did so great. And you really need that when you're in a crazy situation, or when you're having a baby. You really need that. And he did so good. He was a super husband. So then my water broke. I was in a lot of pain. I was screaming. I was yelling. I was a mean person. And then and I'm usually not a mean person. When I'm hurting, I'm usually pretty good. But no, I was something else. So oh my gosh. So then somebody's bored. So then I got the epidural. I asked for the epidural, and they took forever because he was busy doing something else or in another procedure. And then I finally got the epidural, and then and then it progressed like really fast because I was in so much pain. And then all of a sudden they checked me, and they're like, oh, you're dilated to 6 already. And I was like, what? It's only been a couple hours and I've already dilated to 6. And they're like, yep, you should be dilated pretty soon, like to 10. And you're like 100% effaced already. And I was like, oh my God. So then I had my husband go home and grab our suitcases and stuff. And then he came back. You know, by then I wasn't like in pain anymore because I had the epidural. There was still pressure, but no more like crazy pain. And then they told me to try to get some rest because I'm gonna have to push pretty soon. So it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they checked me again. I was 100% effaced and 10 centimeters dilated so I could start pushing. So I did. The doctor was in there, and because I had the epidural, I couldn't feel if I was pushing. So they had to train me how to push. So I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. I pushed for 2 hours and I could not get him out. And while I was pushing, I couldn't breathe and I was hyperventilating because I have asthma and I tend to do stuff like that. And in the meantime, my blood pressure kept going up, and then they were scared because he was in distress. My baby was in distress and his heart was doing funny stuff. So they decided that they were gonna cup his head and suction him out. Like suction his head and like pull him while I was pushing to assist me because I was pushing for so long. So we did that for a little bit. It did not work. The suction kept like flying off of his head, which was so scary. It was terrible. It would make this like terrible sound, like suction, like right off of his head, and then you'd see like blood spraying. And I was like, is that my blood, his blood? Like, it was scary. It was so scary. And, you know, it slipped like 3 times. It wasn't once, 3 times. So they had to use 3 different sections on his poor little head. And they couldn't get him out. And I was pushing and I couldn't push him out. And then his heart was going down. And I don't know what happened to me. But all of a sudden, they said I had to have a C-section. Everything happened really fast. They called an emergency C-section. I was rushed into the surgery room. My husband was gowned. He couldn't come with me. So I went first, and then they gave me a bunch of drugs, and they poked my tummy, and they were like, oh, can you feel this? Let me know if you can feel this before we cut. And sure enough, I could feel it, because by that time I don't know, my epidural was running, I don't know, not working anymore, I'm not sure, or wearing off. And so I was like, no, don't cut, I can feel it. So they gave me more drugs, but I was still like having trouble breathing, and I was scared, and so they said they might put me under. And then they were scared too because my platelets were low. So like normal platelets is like 140 to 440, and mine was 90. So my platelets were low. What platelets do is it clots your blood so you don't bleed out. So anyways, my platelets were kind of low, and I was scared because I could hear them talking about getting blood stuff ready. And so I was worried that if they cut me, I might bleed out and die. I was scared. I mean, we were not prepared for a C-section. We wanted a vaginal delivery. We wanted normal, natural, no drugs. Yeah, nothing. And everything was happening so fast, and we didn't have control over anything. And, you know, you don't have time to process. Everything just happens. It was crazy, and it was scary. And then my husband finally came in the delivery room, and he was sitting by my head, and they did not put me under. And then they cut me open, and I could feel the pressure, and I could like, they were doing a lot. Like my body was like moving like this. And my husband said I was moving a lot, but he didn't look what they were doing, see what they were doing, because he didn't want to look. He's not good with human blood. It's funny because he can like gut a deer, but he can't see human blood. I don't know. So anyways, because, you know, I was pushing him out, so he was like already almost, you know, I was almost crowning, but we couldn't get him out. So then they had to go in and kind of like pull him back out. So then I had a lot of bruising. They sewed me up. My husband was like, can you hear the baby? That's our baby. And it was so surreal. I was so drugged up. I was falling in and out of sleep. And I don't remember a lot of what happened after that. I know that my husband went with the baby, because that's what he told me. He went with the baby, and they were checking the baby's vitals and everything because he you know, because he was in distress while I was trying to push, and it took a long time, so he was in distress and stuff. So they were checking his vitals, and my husband was with him. And I wanted to do like the skin to skin the first hour, even if I got a C-section, but I didn't get to see him for the first, I don't know how long it was, hour or whatever. And then we went back to the room, and you know, they gave him a bath, and the nurse took pictures of us, and my husband showed me the pictures later, and I don't even remember taking those pictures or them taking the pictures of us. But long story short, you cannot plan for your pregnancy. You just kind of have to go with the flow and know that you know, they're there and they'll take good care of you. And you know, it was scary and it wasn't the way we wanted it to be, but we have a healthy baby, and you know, she's here and we're happy.